Hi viewers, welcome back to the next part of episode 2. We are continuing where we left off the last time. We were talking about infrastructure, and I just take off from where I left last time. I was talking about National Highway Authorities of India, Highway Authority of India's decision to monetize its completed national highways. Now, this is a very interesting part because what National Highway Authority of India is looking at is to create more infrastructure. And now to create more infrastructure, you need more money. But where is money going to come from right now? So what it has decided is, it has decided to monetize the existing highways which are already having a good collection of toll. Now this they are planning to convert it into infrastructure investment trust. And what are infrastructure investment trusts? They are very similar to mutual fund which pool investment from various categories of investors, invest them in completed and revenue sharing projects, thereby creating a return for investors. Now they are going to create, national highway authorities are going to create carve out certain projects which are already generating revenue through their tolls, convert it into an investment trust, and then they are going to sell it to investors, and this will bring in fresh money, and using this money they can create a completely new road infrastructure. And the projects which are going to be carved out from their existing portfolio are all those projects which have completed more than 1 year of toll collection. The next interesting infrastructure project that is something that we all should eagerly look forward is that the ambitious Central Vista projects in Delhi, Lutyens Delhi has got rolling. Tata Projects Limited has won the contract to construct a new parliament building at a cost of 861.9 crores. The new parliament will be a triangular building with a seating capacity of 900 to 1200 MPs. Obviously, you need when you have the combined sessions going on. And this is targeted to be completed by April 2022, when the country will be celebrating its 75th Independence Day. This is part of the ambitious Central Vista project, which is a 3-kilometer stretch from Rashtrapati Bhavan to India Gate. I will not delve too deep into what is this project and pros and cons, but this is just to announce that the infrastructure for this has got rolling, and the monsoon session of Parliament has just ended, and the construction will start anytime now. The next infrastructure project is something huge that we have not seen so far. It's going to be very path-breaking, something of creating a world-class infrastructure in India. The Rail Development Authority of India. Now, this is a body that has been created to monetize the assets that the railways already has. Railways, just like defense, it has got one of the largest land banks in the country. Many of them are something that we got from our colonial past, but not most of it is put to good use. Now this Rail Development Land Authority has been created to create value out of these real estate holding. So RLDA has basically floated a request for quotation on inviting private players to develop almost not develop, it's to redevelop 5 lakh square meters of area in New Delhi railway station. Now, New Delhi railway station is India's largest and the busiest, with around 4.5 lakh daily footfalls and handling about 400 trains daily. Now, what is the thought process behind it is to have a state-of-art amenities and facilities for passenger in this area, to develop around 2.6 square meters of infrastructure surrounding the area for commercial use. So you're going to have an area of 5 lakh square meters for in the New Delhi railway station, and you're going to have another 2.6 lakhs square meters of surrounding area which will be for commercial use. So this is the idea of the RLDA is to make the New Delhi railway station as an iconic place in the country. You're going to have a 40-story high-rise building which will house hotels, office complex, and commercial establishments. You are going to have a lot of buildings which will also flyovers, and a 25-kilometer road with a wide pedestrian around the railway station that will have a shopping complex on both sides. It will connect the East Delhi and West Delhi without disturbing the Connaught Place. Basically the idea is to construct flyovers and pathways so that the Connaught Place is not disturbed, but it will this will also link the east and west Delhi, and there is a Karnal Singh stadium just next to that will also be integrated with that. You're going to have a lot of commercial space which can actually make this area a very thriving and vibrant commercial space. The project is supposed to be on design, build, finance, operate, and then transfer. And the concession period for the person who is going to win this is going to be for a 60 years period, and it obviously has to be a private sector consortium. So I think we all should look forward to the Central Vista coming up, and then the New Delhi station becoming an iconic place, slowly a sign of a country growing in confidence and wanting to create iconic structures. Any country which grows and which is always admired are those which have got iconic structures. Now, what is India usually known about is Taj Mahal, which is once again an iconic structure. Qutub Minar, once again an iconic structure. So I think the thinking of the government is towards this line, something that is very appreciable, because if this succeeds, you're going to see the same model coming to Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, and other cities. Another very interesting and very important development that has taken place, I don't know whether it got noticed, is that the government of Gujarat is thinking of, it's actually going to launch a seaplane service of air connectivity between Sabarmati riverfront in Ahmedabad to the Statue of Unity, Sardar Patel Statue of Unity. Now, why is this news, I personally feel is very significant, is that it can actually solve the air connectivity issues to a lot of coastal towns. Now, we already discussed in the previous part that air connectivity is going to become a very important infrastructure development requirement for India, because there's a substantial movement of passengers which is purely dependent on train and has to move to air. But we always have challenges associated with land in coastal town. Now, if seaplane services can be a very viable alternative to building huge runways, because for small coastal towns you will never have the kind of traffic that is required to operate a full-fledged airport, and therefore any backwaters of a dam or any sea can take care of can be a good city or a town to be targeted for operating a seaplane. Another very interesting development which has happened is Solar Energy Corporation of India has started inviting bids for huge storage devices for connecting solar plants to interstate transmission system. Why is this significant? Because we are already seeing that there has been a huge or substantial amount of investment that has happened in the solar ecosystem in India. Basically it started off with renewable energies through wind. We already had renewable energies from hydropower, which was the pioneer early, and then slowly we started having wind, which was in Tamil Nadu and Gujarat, and now a substantial amount of investment has started happening in solar panels, and the cost of solar electricity generated from solar panels has substantially come down from 8, 9, and now it's come down to as low as 3.2 and 3.3. I heard some bids have been even at 2.4. Now, when this kind of an ecosystem gets created, the target for us to be reached, the original target was, assumed to be reached by 2022 was 100 gigawatt of solar energy. Now, it's possible that we don't reach the target, but even assuming we reach 75% of the target, that would still mean that we need somewhere around 20 to 30 gigawatts of storage capacity. Now, what happens with solar system? It's not an even producing system. We all know it gets produced during the daytime, and so nighttime it's not available, and then the production is also goes along with the movement of the sun, so it's like a bell curve, and which means you will have to store that energy somewhere to make it useful. Otherwise, you can't alter the people's behavior to charge their systems or use electricity during this peak period, because even that wouldn't work on days when it is cloudy or when it is raining or when it's it's covered by smog. The generation will come down. So one of the ways that we have been tackling this situation of bringing in a grid stability is to use a technique called pumped hydro storage. Now, the only technology that's available right now to manage the grid stability for renewable energies produced both through wind and solar has been the pumped hydroelectric system. Now, what is this? Basically, suppose we have a river which has been blocked through a lot of dams. Then you have a lower dam and an upper dam. When there is a power surplus that is produced through solar or any other renewable energy, you pump the water from the lower reservoir to the higher reservoir and store it. And as the solar generation comes down, or the peak loads, which is usually the evening period when the factories are still shutting down and the domestic homes start switching on the lights and air conditioners and TVs and everything, that's the time when that's the peak power consumption. So hydroelectric systems and gas-based power plants have been effectively used to manage this grid instability. So pumped water hydro storage has been one of the ways to capture the but that's been the only solution that we have. And in India right now there's a potential for 96 gigawatt of pumped hydro storage, but across 63 sites in India. Of that, only 2.6 gigawatt of PHS, which is pumped hydro storage, is operational right now, and another 3.1 gigawatt is under construction. Now, even putting together both these things, you will have only around 5.7 gigawatt of PHS available in India, which will be grossly inadequate to handle the increasing generation from solar energy. And therefore, a good storage system is the need, and we are so glad that Solar Energy Corporation has taken the lead to really create the bids for it, I think keeping the long-term interest of the country in mind. Viewers, that's about the time we have for this part of the episode 2. In the next few days we are going to load the next part of episode 2. So till such time, I would request you all to stay happy, stay healthy, and look forward to our next part. Thank you so much for you being part of this journey that we are trying to create for all of us.